Welcome to Secrets of History, where the past unveils its darkest mysteries. Imagine a freezing night in 1953, two sisters vanish, their beds still warm, and a haunting photo stares right at you. Was it a family curse, a cult, or something unearthly? The truth will shock you. Watch till the end, if you dare. Gather close, for the winds of October 1953 carried a chill deeper than the frost that settled over the isolated hamlet of Blackfield, where shadows clung to the gnarled trees and the Rowan family's grand, sagging manor loomed like a sentinel of secrets. Within its walls lived Elias, a man of stern countenance and whispered dealings, his soft-spoken wife Clara, and their twin daughters, Amelia and Beatrice, 12 years old, their golden curls a stark contrast to the gloom, their laughter a fleeting melody against the creaking boards. That night, as the moon cast its silver gaze through the mist, the twins retired to their shared chamber, their beds kissed by warmth beneath the quilts, yet by dawn, they were gone, vanished as if the earth itself had swallowed them whole, leaving no trace but the echo of silence. The sheets remained untouched, still bearing the heat of their bodies, a riddle etched in the stillness, while a single Polaroid, its edges yellowed, their smiles frozen yet unnervingly alive, lay abandoned on the mantel, watching, waiting. Whispers spoke of a curse born from Elias's shadowed past, of cultish figures lurking in the woods, their eyes glinting under the lunar shroud. Rumors that have festered for 72 years, unanswered, unresolved. Step with me now into this abyss of history, where the truth lies buried beneath the roots of an ancient evil, and let us uncover the macabre mystery that refuses to fade into the dark. The stage for the narrative by anchoring the story in a remote, eerie 1950s town, crafting an atmosphere that immediately draws the listener into a world steeped in mystery and foreboding. Blackfield, the fictional hamlet chosen for this tale, emerges as more than just a backdrop. It becomes a character in itself, its isolation amplifying the sense of dread that permeates the story. The 1950s setting is deliberately selected, evoking a post-war era of outward normalcy in the United States, where small towns hid secrets beneath their quaint facades, a time when the innocence of the decade was often a mask for darker undercurrents. The crisp autumn air of October 1953 carries a tangible chill, not just from the season but from an unseen menace that seems to linger in the shadows, setting a tone that resonates with the dark history style. The gnarled trees, their twisted branches clawing at the sky, suggest a landscape untouched by modernity, a place where nature itself holds ancient, perhaps malevolent, memories. This imagery paints a picture of a town cut off from the world, where the usual hum of life is replaced by an oppressive quiet, broken only by the occasional creak of an old house or the rustle of leaves stirred by an unnatural breeze. The remoteness of Blackfield is key, implying that help or scrutiny from the outside world is distant, allowing the macabre events to unfold unchecked. This isolation mirrors the psychological distance of the Rowan family, hinting that their troubles are both personal and tied to the land itself. The eerie quality is heightened by the suggestion of shadows that cling persistently, as if the town is under a perpetual twilight, a place where the boundary between the known and the unknown blurs. This atmosphere is not merely decorative, it serves to prime the audience for the inexplicable disappearance of the Rowan Daughters, suggesting that the setting itself may harbor the forces responsible. The 1950s context adds a layer of historical intrigue, tapping into a period when societal norms suppressed the discussion of such mysteries, leaving them to fester in local lore. The choice of autumn, with its decaying leaves and shortening days, reinforces themes of decline and loss, aligning with the vanishing of the twins. Every detail, the misty air, the sagging manor, the distant howl of wind, works to envelop the listener in a cocoon of unease, where the ordinary becomes a canvas for the extraordinary. This careful construction of place and time ensures that from the outset, the story feels like a descent into a forgotten corner of history, where the past refuses to stay buried, and the listener is invited to peer into its depths with bated breath. The Rowan family as a seemingly respectable yet mysteriously troubled unit, laying the foundation for the dark enigma that defines their story. Elias Rowan, the patriarch, emerges as a figure of authority, his stern demeanor and whispered dealings hinting at a man who commands respect but harbors secrets that ripple through the family's legacy. His presence suggests a traditional head of household, a pillar of the 1950s community in Blackfield, Massachusetts, where outward appearances of prosperity and piety often masked inner turmoil. Clara, his wife, contrasts with her soft-spoken nature, a gentle soul whose quiet demeanor might conceal her own awareness of the shadows cast by her husband's actions, adding a layer of complexity to their marital dynamic. Together, they embody the ideal of mid-century American family life, polished on the surface, yet fractured beneath, making their eventual unraveling all the more compelling. The family's affluence, suggested by their grand Victorian estate, positions them as local notables, their wealth possibly tied to Elias's shadowy business ventures, which could range from questionable land deals to dealings with unsavory figures, planting the seed of a cursed inheritance. The troubled nature of the Rowan unit is subtly woven into their portrayal, with the twins, Amelia and Beatrice, serving as the emotional heart of the narrative. Their golden curls and mischievous grins paint them as innocent children, a stark contrast to the gloom that envelops their home, suggesting they are both victims and unwitting catalysts of the family's dark fate. The twins' bond, hinted at through their shared laughter and secrets, underscores a purity that makes their disappearance all the more shocking, while also implying they might have known more than they let on, perhaps glimpsing the malevolent forces tied to their lineage. This troubled aspect is not overt but lingers in the air, a tension felt in the creaking floors and the way the family's interactions seem strained, as if each member carries a burden they dare not voice. The keynote ensures the audience perceives the Rowans not as a monolithic entity but as individuals bound by blood yet divided by unspoken fears, their respectability a fragile veneer over a history of potential misdeeds or supernatural pacts. This duality, respectable yet troubled, mirrors the dark history style, where families of prominence often hide skeletons in their closets, their stories unraveling to reveal greed, guilt, or curses. The introduction of the Rowans sets up a narrative arc where their societal standing makes the mystery more intriguing, inviting speculation about whether Elias's past dealings with the land or its ancient inhabitants sparked the twins' vanishing. The family becomes a microcosm of a town and era where appearances deceive, drawing the listener into a tale where every smile hides a shudder, and every stately home conceals a creeping dread. The twin daughters, Amelia and Beatrice, as central figures with an innocent yet haunting presence, establishing them as the emotional and narrative anchors of the macabre mystery. At 12 years old, they embody the fragile innocence of childhood in the 1950s, their golden curls and mischievous grins painting a picture of youthful vitality that stands in stark contrast to the dark fate awaiting them. Their twinship amplifies their significance, suggesting a deep, almost mystical bond that sets them apart, perhaps a connection that made them uniquely vulnerable to the forces that would claim them. This innocence is not merely a surface trait, it carries a poignant weight, as their laughter and shared secrets over apple pie on that fateful October night hint at a purity soon to be shattered, drawing the listener into a visceral sense of loss. Their presence in the story is imbued with a haunting quality, their images frozen in the Polaroid left behind, where their smiles seem to shift under scrutiny, their eyes following the viewer with an unspoken plea or warning that lingers long after the tale unfolds. As central figures, Amelia and Beatrice serve as the catalysts for the narrative's tension, their disappearance on that misty dawn in 1953 transforming a quiet family dinner into a chilling enigma. Their youth and vulnerability heighten the stakes, evoking a protective instinct in the audience while simultaneously fueling speculation about what drew them away, whether it was a cursed legacy tied to their father's dealings, a spectral lure from the woods, or a darker human intent. The keynote emphasizes their haunting presence by suggesting they might have glimpsed the truth, their childish curiosity perhaps leading them to the edge of a forbidden secret, a notion reinforced by the untouched warmth of their beds, as if they stepped willingly into the unknown. This duality, innocence laced with an eerie foresight, aligns with the dark history style, where young lives often bear the brunt of ancestral sins, their stories echoing with ghostly resonance. Their centrality also lies in how they personify the mystery's enduring grip, their absence leaving a void that has haunted Blackfield for 7 decades. The twins become symbols of lost potential, their golden curls a fading memory against the grey decay of time, yet their images in the Polaroid keep the tale alive, a spectral thread connecting past to present. This haunting quality is enhanced by the suggestion that they might still linger, their spirits tied to the land or the house, watching as the truth remains buried. Through them, the script weaves a narrative that is both a lament for innocence lost and a chilling invitation to peer into the abyss, where every giggle hides a shudder, and every twin's glance holds the key to a darkness yet to be unveiled. The vanishing of the Rowan Daughters as an abrupt, unexplained event tied to a specific night in 1953, anchoring the mystery in a precise moment that amplifies its shocking impact and enduring enigma. That October night, under the silver glow of a full moon, the quiet town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, held its breath as the twins, Amelia and Beatrice, retired to their shared chamber, their golden curls brushing the pillows of beds that would soon bear witness to an unfathomable absence. The abruptness of their disappearance, occurring sometime between midnight and dawn, strikes with the force of a sudden storm, transforming a mundane family evening into a scene of chilling desolation. The specificity of 1953, a year steeped in post-war American optimism, adds a layer of irony, as this idyllic facade crumbles under the weight of a mystery that defies the era's supposed stability, drawing listeners into a time when such vanishings were both rare and deeply unsettling. This pinpointed moment serves as the heartbeat of the narrative, a temporal marker that demands attention and fuels speculation about what transpired in those dark hours. The unexplained nature of the event heightens its macabre allure, with no footprints marring the dew-kissed grass, no broken windows or cries to suggest a struggle, and the beds remaining eerily warm as if the girls had just slipped away. This lack of evidence transforms the vanishing into a ghostly departure, suggesting forces beyond human comprehension, perhaps a curse tied to their father Elias's shadowed past or an otherworldly pull from the misty woods beyond their home. The abruptness is further emphasized by the contrast with the previous night's normalcy, where laughter over apple pie filled the air, making the silence of dawn all the more jarring. This sudden shift mirrors the dark history style, where pivotal moments often erupt without warning, leaving a legacy of questions that linger like fog over a graveyard. The tie to that specific night in 1953 also evokes a sense of historical urgency, as if the date itself holds a clue, perhaps aligned with a celestial event or a forgotten ritual that opened a door to the unknown. The precision of the timeline, midnight to dawn, invites the audience to imagine the unseen, the hours when the house creaked and the wind whispered through the trees, potentially carrying the girls into oblivion. This abruptness ensures the mystery feels immediate, a wound still fresh after 7 decades, compelling listeners to ponder whether it was human malice, supernatural intervention, or a family secret that erased Amelia and Beatrice from the world. The event's unexplained quality, coupled with its fixed moment in time, weaves a tapestry of suspense, where every tick of the clock that night holds a potential answer, buried deep in the shadows of Blackfield's past, waiting to be unearthed. The untouched beds and warm sheets as a chilling detail that suggests the sudden disappearance of the Rowan Daughters, infusing the narrative with an eerie immediacy that grips the listener and deepens the macabre mystery. On that fateful October night in 1953, within the shadowed confines of the Rowan family's Victorian estate in Blackfield, Massachusetts, the discovery of Amelia and Beatrice's beds, still bearing the faint heat of their bodies yet devoid of any sign of struggle, struck a chord of dread that has echoed for 72 years, reaching into this very afternoon at 1:55 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time on October 12, 2025. This detail, so stark against the silence of that dawn, paints a picture of an abrupt severance, as if the twins were plucked from their slumber by an unseen hand, leaving the quilts smooth and the pillows undisturbed, a ghostly imprint of their last moments. The warmth, a lingering pulse of life, contrasts with the cold mystery that enveloped the house, suggesting a disappearance so swift it defied the natural order, drawing the listener into the heart of the enigma with a visceral shiver. This chilling element amplifies the narrative's immediacy, placing the audience on the creaking floorboards beside the frantic parents, feeling the residual heat as a tangible clue to the unknown. The untouched state of the beds, no rumpled sheets, no overturned furniture, hints at a force beyond human comprehension, whether a cursed legacy tied to Elias Rowan's past, a cult's silent ritual, or a supernatural entity that spirited the girls away without a trace. The warmth becomes a haunting beacon, suggesting they vanished mere moments before discovery, a detail that aligns with the dark history style's use of mundane objects to evoke terror. The listener can almost hear the faint rustle of the mist outside or the creak of the house settling into its grief, each sound amplifying the sense that something malevolent lingered in those early hours. This detail deepens the macabre mystery by raising unanswerable questions. Did the girls rise willingly, entranced by the Polaroid's watchful eyes, or were they taken against their will, the warmth a cruel mockery of their lost presence? The untouched beds transform the scene into a frozen tableau, a snapshot of innocence interrupted, where the absence is as palpable as the presence once was. For 7 decades, this image has fueled whispers in Blackfield, where locals avoid the estate after dusk. The warmth of those sheets a lingering ghost that beckons investigators and storytellers alike to probe deeper into the shadows, where the truth of that 1953 night remains cloaked, urging the listener to hold their breath and seek what lies beyond the veil of the known. The hint of a cursed legacy or dark family secret linked to the patriarch's past, enriching the narrative with a layered sense of historical dread that resonates with the dark history style and draws the audience into the Rowan family's tormented lineage. Elias Rowan, the stern patriarch of the Blackfield estate, emerges as a figure whose shadowy dealings cast a long, ominous shadow over his twin daughters, Amelia and Beatrice, suggesting that their vanishing in 1953 might be the culmination of a sin committed generations before. His reputation as a businessman with whispered transactions, perhaps tied to the land's ancient woodlands or illicit agreements with unsavory figures, plants the seed of a cursed inheritance, a burden passed down through blood and time. This legacy hints at a pact or transgression, possibly the desecration of sacred ground or a deal with forces beyond the mortal realm, which now demands its due, with the twins as unwitting sacrifices. The idea of a curse adds a gothic weight to the tale, transforming the family's grand Victorian home into a prison of ancestral guilt, its creaking floors echoing with the weight of unresolved debts. The dark family secret is subtly suggested through the tension that permeates the Rowan household, where Clara's soft-spoken demeanor and the girls' innocent laughter mask an undercurrent of fear or knowledge. Perhaps Elias's past dealings involved the exploitation of the land's indigenous history, a violation that awakened a malevolent entity or bound his bloodline to a cycle of loss, a notion reinforced by the untouched warmth of the twins' beds on that fateful October morning. This secret could be buried in old ledgers, hidden letters, or the cryptic Polaroid left behind, its frozen smiles hinting at a truth the girls might have glimpsed. The keynote invites speculation. Did Elias's ambition blind him to warnings from the townsfolk, or did he knowingly invite this doom, sealing his daughter's fate? This ambiguity fuels the narrative, aligning with the dark history tradition where families of prominence often harbor skeletons that unravel into tales of horror. The cursed legacy also ties the personal tragedy to a broader, almost mythical scope, suggesting that the woods beyond the manor hold the key, perhaps a stone circle or ancient marker desecrated by Elias's hand, now a portal for retribution. For 72 years, this hint has festered in Blackfield's lore, whispered among locals who avoid the Rowan property after dusk, their stories blending fact with fear. The patriarch's past becomes a mirror to the audience's own curiosity, urging them to peel back the layers of this enigma, where every creak of the house and rustle of leaves might whisper the curse's origin, a dark thread woven into the fabric of the Rowan name, waiting to ensnare the unwary seeker of truth. The possibility of an external malevolent force, such as a cult or supernatural entity, adding a thrilling layer of intrigue and terror to the macabre mystery of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953, aligning seamlessly with the dark history style's penchant for the uncanny. As the misty woods beyond the Rowan family's Victorian estate in Blackfield, Massachusetts, loom large in the narrative, they become a conduit for forces that defy rational explanation, hinting that Amelia and Beatrice's vanishing might not have been a mere human act but the work of something ancient and otherworldly. The notion of a cult emerges from the whispers of the townsfolk, who speak of secretive gatherings under the moonlit canopy, their rituals possibly tied to the land's indigenous past or a sect drawn to Elias Rowan's shadowy dealings. This external threat suggests a group with motives shrouded in mystery, perhaps seeking to appease a vengeful spirit or harvest the twins for some dark rite, casting a pall of dread over the quiet October night when the girls slipped away, their beds left warm yet undisturbed. The supernatural entity angle deepens the horror, proposing an entity that might have been roused by the family's cursed legacy, a being drawn from the shadows of the forest to claim its due. The keynote paints a vivid picture of elongated, spectral shapes flitting through the mist, their presence felt in the eerie silence that followed the twins' departure, a silence broken only by the distant howl of wind or the faint echo of bone-like chimes. This force could be a guardian of the land, angered by Elias's exploitation of its sacred grounds, or a dimensional traveler exploiting a thin veil between worlds, a concept that resonates with the dark history tradition of blending folklore with inexplicable loss. The untouched sheets and the Polaroid's haunting gaze, where the girls' eyes seem to follow, fuel speculation that this entity marked them, pulling them into an unseen realm while leaving behind a lingering trace of their essence. This external malevolence transforms the story from a domestic tragedy into a cosmic confrontation, where the Rowan home becomes a battleground between the mundane and the malevolent. The cult possibility adds a human element of conspiracy, with robed figures perhaps lurking near the manor, their chants carried on the breeze, while the supernatural angle suggests a power beyond control, its motives inscrutable yet relentless. For 72 years, these theories have woven a tapestry of fear in Blackfield, with locals avoiding the woods after dusk and the Rowan property standing as a monument to the unknown. The keynote invites the listener to ponder whether the twins were taken by hands cloaked in ritual or claws from another plane, each possibility deepening the enigma and urging a deeper dive into the shadows where the truth might still lurk, waiting to reveal its chilling face. The Polaroid as a recurring, unsettling motif that connects the past to the present, serving as a haunting artifact that anchors the macabre mystery of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953 while deepening its emotional and narrative resonance. Discovered abandoned on the mantle of the Rowan family's Victorian estate in Blackfield, Massachusetts, this single, faded photograph captures Amelia and Beatrice in their golden-curled innocence, their smiles frozen mid-laughter from a moment before that fateful October night. Its presence on the scene, left behind as if deliberately placed, transforms it into more than a mere memento. It becomes a spectral thread, a portal through which the past gazes into the present, its yellowed edges and cracked surface whispering of time's relentless decay. The Polaroid's unsettling quality lies in the way the twins' eyes seem to shift under scrutiny, following the viewer with an uncanny awareness, suggesting they might still linger, their spirits bound to the image or the land, a detail that aligns with the dark history style's love for objects imbued with ghostly significance. This motif recurs throughout the narrative, drawing the audience back to that moment of loss, where the warmth of the girls' untouched beds contrasts with the cold permanence of the photograph. It acts as a tangible clue, hinting at a truth the twins might have known, perhaps a glimpse of the cursed legacy or the malevolent force that claimed them, yet its ambiguity fuels speculation rather than resolution. The Polaroid's placement on the mantle, a domestic altar, suggests a ritualistic intent, possibly by a cult or supernatural entity, leaving it as a marker of their departure or a taunt to those who would seek answers. Its recurring presence ties the 1953 vanishing to the present day, as if the image itself holds a memory that refuses to fade, its haunting gaze piercing through 72 years to unsettle those who dare to investigate. The photograph's deterioration, its faded colors and worn edges, mirrors the decay of the Rowan family's reputation and the town's collective memory, yet its survival underscores its power as a symbol of unresolved mystery. It invites the listener to imagine the hands that last touched it, the eyes that last saw the twins alive, and the unseen forces that might have orchestrated its abandonment. In the dark history tradition, such artifacts often carry the weight of the past, serving as a bridge between eras, and here the Polaroid becomes a silent witness, its stillness contrasting with the restless questions it provokes. Whether it holds a hidden message in its grainy details or simply reflects the girls' lost souls, it beckons the audience to peer closer, to feel the chill of that October night, and to wonder if the truth lies trapped within its fragile frame, waiting to be deciphered amidst the shadows of Blackfield's forgotten history. Creates a tone of suspense with slow, deliberate pacing and a whisper-like cadence, crafting an immersive experience that draws the listener deep into the macabre mystery of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953, perfectly embodying the dark history style's mastery of tension and atmosphere. As the tale unfolds in the remote town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, the narrative unfolds with a measured rhythm, each word lingering like the mist that cloaks the Victorian estate, allowing the weight of the past to settle heavily upon the audience. The slow pacing mirrors the creeping dread of that October night, where the twins, Amelia and Beatrice, vanished from their warm beds, stretching out the moments before their abrupt absence to heighten the sense of impending doom. This deliberate tempo gives space for vivid sensory details, the creak of the house, the rustle of leaves, the faint chill of the air, to weave a tapestry of unease, encouraging the listener to visualize the scene as if stepping into the shadow-laden woods themselves. The whisper-like cadence adds a layer of intimacy and secrecy, as if the storyteller is sharing a forbidden tale passed down through generations, their voice dropping to a hushed tone that compels the audience to lean closer, straining to catch every chilling revelation. This soft delivery contrasts with the shocking nature of the events, the untouched sheets, the Polaroid's haunting gaze, creating a dynamic tension that keeps the heart racing yet the mind captivated. The cadence mimics the hesitant speech of a townsfolk reluctant to speak of the curse tied to Elias Rowan's past, or the spectral whispers that might have lured the girls into the night, aligning with the dark history style's tradition of unfolding stories as if they are fragile relics unearthed from a forgotten grave. Pauses are strategically placed, allowing the silence to swell with anticipation, as if the next word might unleash a ghost from the mist or a cultist from the trees. This approach transforms the narrative into a slow burn, where the suspense builds not from rapid action but from the gradual unveiling of clues, the warmth of the beds, the rumors of a malevolent force, each detail dripping into the listener's consciousness like wax from a dying candle. The whisper-like quality suggests a story too terrible to shout, a secret held close to protect or to terrify, drawing the audience into a confessional space where the past feels alive and watchful. For 72 years, this pacing and cadence have preserved the mystery's power, making the listener feel as though they are the first to hear it, standing on the porch of that sagging manor, peering into the abyss where the truth of the Rowan daughters' fate remains shrouded, beckoning with every hushed syllable to delve deeper into the unknown. Incorporates vivid sensory details, crisp air, creaking house, moonlit woods, to immerse the listener in the macabre mystery of the Rowan daughters' disappearance in 1953, enhancing the dark history style's ability to transport the audience into a tangible, haunting past. As the narrative unfolds in the remote town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, the crisp autumn air of that October night seeps into the story, its cool bite carrying the scent of decaying leaves and a faint, earthy dampness from the misty woods, setting a scene that feels alive with the season's decay and foreboding. This sensory anchor grounds the listener in the moment, evoking the shiver that might have brushed against Amelia and Beatrice as they retired to their shared chamber, their golden curls brushing against quilts still warm when dawn revealed their absence. The crispness suggests a clarity that contrasts with the murky enigma of their vanishing, drawing the audience into the physicality of the environment where the mystery took root. The creaking house amplifies the unease, its aged timbers groaning under the weight of 72 years of secrets, each sound a whisper from the past that echoes through the Victorian estate's sagging halls. The creaks punctuate the silence of that fateful night, hinting at the unseen presence that might have moved through the shadows, whether a cultist's stealthy step or a supernatural entity's glide, making the home itself a character complicit in the girl's fate. This auditory detail invites the listener to imagine standing on the warped floorboards, feeling the house breathe with a life of its own, its protests blending with the hushed voices of a family unaware of the doom creeping closer. The creaking becomes a rhythmic heartbeat, slow and deliberate, aligning with the dark history style's use of the environment to mirror the narrative's tension. The moonlit woods, casting silver streaks through the mist beyond the manor, paint a picture of enchantment laced with terror, their gnarled branches reaching like skeletal hands toward the sky. This visual detail transforms the forest into a realm of possibility, perhaps the site where the twins were lured, their footsteps lost to the moss, or a gateway for the malevolent force tied to Elias Rowan's cursed legacy. The moonlight dances with the fog, creating an ethereal glow that both illuminates and obscures, suggesting hidden truths waiting to be uncovered. These sensory elements, air, creaks, woods, work in concert to envelop the listener, making the 1953 disappearance feel immediate, as if they can smell the decay, hear the groans, and see the moonlit silhouettes of a tragedy that has lingered for decades. This immersion draws them deeper into Blackfield's shadowed history, where every sensation hints at the unseen, urging them to explore the enigma that the Polaroid's haunting gaze and the warm beds left behind only begin to unveil. 4.1's fast builds tension around the idea that the truth of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953 remains buried after 7 decades, infusing the narrative with a persistent sense of unresolved mystery that resonates deeply with the dark history style's fascination with enduring enigmas. In the quiet town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, the vanishing of Amelia and Beatrice from their warm, untouched beds on that October night has left a void that time has failed to heal, its silence stretching across 72 years to the present day, October 12, 2025. This prolonged absence of answers transforms the event into a spectral wound, a riddle etched into the land and the sagging Victorian estate, where the creaks of the house and the whispers of the misty woods seem to guard the secret still. The passage of time, marked by the turning seasons and the fading memories of townsfolk, only deepens the intrigue, suggesting that whatever force, be it a cursed legacy tied to Elias Rowan's past, a cult's shadowy ritual, or a supernatural entity, has successfully concealed its tracks, leaving behind only the haunting Polaroid with the twins' watchful eyes as a tantalizing yet elusive clue. This buried truth heightens the tension by implying that the answers lie just beyond reach, buried beneath layers of history that have ossified into legend, resistant to the probes of investigators or the curiosity of those who dare to revisit the case. The 7 decades since 1953 have seen the manor fall into disrepair, its walls holding the echoes of unanswered questions, while the woods beyond grow denser, their gnarled branches seeming to tighten around the secret as if to protect it. The keynote suggests a deliberate concealment, perhaps the cult erased evidence, or the entity erased the girls from this plane, leaving no footprints in the dukest grass or traces on the warm sheets, creating a narrative where every attempt to uncover the past meets with frustration. This aligns with the dark history style, where the passage of time often serves to entomb truths, making them more alluring yet more inaccessible, as if the earth itself conspires to keep the story's heart hidden. The tension is further amplified by the enduring impact on Blackfield, where locals avoid the Rowan property after dusk, their whispers of curses and vanishings fueling a collective unease that persists into the present. The buried truth becomes a living presence, a shadow cast over the town that grows longer with each year, inviting the listener to ponder what might still lurk, whether it's the girl's spirits bound to the Polaroid, the cult's lingering influence, or the entity's watchful gaze. This unresolved state, stretching from that moonlit night to this very afternoon at 1:35 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time on October 12, 2025, keeps the mystery alive, a thread of suspense that pulls the audience into the narrative, urging them to sift through the dust of history for a revelation that may never come, yet promises to chill the soul with every unanswered echo. Local rumors and whispers that fuel the mystery of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953, enriching the narrative with a tapestry of folklore and speculation that embodies the dark history style's reliance on communal lore to sustain its eerie allure. In the isolated town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, where the misty woods encircle the sagging Rowan estate, the vanishing of Amelia and Beatrice from their warm, untouched beds on that October night ignited a firestorm of hushed tales that have simmered for 72 years, persisting into the crisp air of October 12, 2025. These rumors, passed from generation to generation over kitchen tables and in the dim glow of tavern hearths, paint a picture of a community gripped by fear and fascination, their voices trembling as they recount the cursed legacy tied to Elias Rowan's shadowy dealings. Some whisper of a pact with an ancient force, stirred awake when he exploited the land's sacred grounds, its retribution claiming the twins as payment, while others speak of cloaked figures seen flitting through the trees, hinting at a cult's sinister hand in the girl's fate, their chants carried on the wind like a ghostly refrain. These local legends add depth to the enigma, suggesting that the townsfolk hold fragments of the truth, though none dare piece them together fully. The whispers grow wilder with time. Some claim the Polaroid left on the mantel shifts its gaze when alone, its subject's eyes following the unwary, while others swear they've heard the faint echo of the twins' laughter drifting from the woods after dusk, a sound that chills the blood. This oral tradition aligns with the dark history style, where the collective memory of a place becomes a living archive, its stories evolving into myth yet retaining a kernel of dread that keeps the mystery alive. The rumors also reflect the town's divided soul. Some blame Elias's greed, others point to a supernatural entity drawn by the family's bloodline, and a few mutter of a neighbor's jealousy turned deadly, each tale weaving a thread of suspicion that thickens the plot. The whispers fuel the narrative's tension, transforming Blackfield into a character shaped by its own secrets, where the creak of the Rowan house and the rustle of leaves carry the weight of these tales. Locals avoid the estate after nightfall, their reluctance born from stories of shadowy figures or the sensation of being watched, a fear that has persisted since 1953 and lingers into this very afternoon at 1:35 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. This communal lore invites the listener to step into the shoes of those who lived the aftermath, to hear the tremor in a grandmother's voice or the urgency in a child's recounting, each rumor a clue or a distraction in the quest for truth. The mystery thrives on these whispers, a living echo that binds the past to the present, urging the audience to sift through the haze of speculation for the chilling reality that may still lurk in Blackfield's shadowed corners. Calls for delivering the narrative with a grave, storytelling voice that pauses for dramatic effect, crafting an immersive and spine-chilling experience that aligns with the dark history style's art of oral tradition and emotional resonance. As the tale of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953 unfolds in the shadowed hamlet of Blackfield, Massachusetts, the voice emerges as a solemn guide, its deep timbre carrying the weight of 72 years since that October night when Amelia and Beatrice vanished from their warm, untouched beds. This grave tone sets a reverent yet foreboding mood, as if the storyteller stands on the creaking porch of the Victorian estate, peering into the misty woods where the truth lies buried, their words dripping with the gravity of a history too terrible to rush. The pacing is deliberate, each syllable lingering like the crisp air that carried the girls' last laughter, allowing the listener to absorb the eerie silence that followed their abrupt absence, enhancing the sense of a mystery that has haunted the present right up to this very moment at 1:36 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time on October 12, 2025. The pauses are the heartbeat of this delivery, strategically placed to heighten suspense and invite reflection, as if the narrator hesitates to unveil the next layer of dread. After describing the Polaroid's haunting gaze or the rumors of a cursed legacy tied to Elias Rowan's past, a brief silence falls, heavy with the unspoken, perhaps the rustle of leaves or the distant howl of wind, before the voice resumes, softer yet more insistent, pulling the audience deeper into the enigma. This technique mirrors the dark history style's reliance on the spoken word, where the teller's breath becomes part of the story. Each pause a moment for the listener to imagine the shadowy figures in the woods or the cultist's chants carried on the breeze. The grave voice lends authenticity, as if recounting a tale passed down through generations, its solemnity suggesting a burden shared with the audience, a witness to the unresolved fate of the twins. This delivery transforms the narrative into a ritual, where the storyteller's cadence, slow, measured, almost whispered, mirrors the hesitant speech of Blackfield's townsfolk, reluctant to disturb the sleeping past. The pauses allow the sensory details, the creak of the house, the moonlit gleam, to settle, creating a rhythm that builds tension without haste, aligning with the style's love for lingering on the macabre. As the voice dips to recount the warm sheets or the Polaroid's shifting eyes, the listener feels the chill of that 1953 dawn, drawn into a confessional space where the truth teeters on the edge of revelation. This grave, pausing delivery ensures the mystery remains alive, a living echo that binds the listener to the shadowed history of the Rowan estate, urging them to hold their breath and listen for the next whisper from the abyss. Ends with a call to explore the unknown, drawing the audience into the narrative with an irresistible invitation that embodies the dark history style's ability to transform listeners into active participants in the unfolding mystery of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953. As the tale reaches its shadowy crescendo in the mist-laden town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, where Amelia and Beatrice vanished from their warm, untouched beds on that fateful October night, the narrator's voice, grave and deliberate, pauses, allowing the weight of 72 years to settle, stretching from that chilling dawn to this very moment at 1:37 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time on October 12, 2025. This pause is not an end but a threshold, a moment where the creaking of the Rowan estate's timbers and the rustle of the moonlit woods seem to beckon, urging the listener to step beyond the safety of passive hearing into the abyss of the unknown. The call is subtle yet commanding, a whisper that promises revelation yet warns of the perils lurking in the shadows, aligning with the style's tradition of leaving doors ajar for the curious to pry open. This invitation is woven into the narrative's fabric, emerging as the storyteller recounts the Polaroid's haunting gaze or the rumors of a cursed legacy tied to Elias Rowan's past, their voice dipping to suggest that the truth lies just out of reach, buried beneath the land's ancient roots or within the cult's forgotten rites. "Step with me now," the narrator might intone, their cadence slow and laden with intent, drawing the audience into the misty woods where the twins might still linger, their golden curls a ghostly shimmer in the fog. This call transforms the listener from a bystander into a seeker, compelled to sift through the enigma, whether it's the warmth of the beds, the shifting eyes. Maintains a dark, gothic undertone consistent with historical horror storytelling, infusing the narrative of the Rowan Daughters' disappearance in 1953 with an atmospheric richness that aligns with the dark history style's mastery of evoking a timeless, chilling past. In the remote town of Blackfield, Massachusetts, where the sagging Victorian estate of the Rowan family stands as a monument to decay, the story unfolds under a perpetual twilight, its air thick with the scent of damp earth and rotting leaves from that October night when Amelia and Beatrice vanished from their warm, untouched beds. This gothic undertone permeates every detail, casting the manor as a brooding edifice with creaking timbers that groan like the lament of lost souls, its shadowed halls echoing with the weight of a cursed legacy tied to Elias Rowan's shadowy dealings. The landscape itself becomes a character, the moonlit woods beyond the house a tangled maze of gnarled branches and mist, where ancient evils might lurk, their presence felt in the faint rustle of leaves or the distant howl that pierces the silence, stretching from that chilling dawn to this very afternoon at 1:38 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time on October 12, 2025. This dark tone is sustained through vivid imagery that evokes the Gothic tradition, cracked windows reflecting a sickly green glow, the Polaroid's faded edges trembling with an otherworldly watchfulness, and the untouched sheets bearing the ghostly imprint of the twins' last moments. The narrative drips with a sense of decay and inevitability, suggesting that the family's affluence was built on a foundation of sin, perhaps a desecration of sacred land that awakened a malevolent force or invited a cult's sinister hand. The Gothic undertone transforms the disappearance into a tale of retribution, where the past rises like a spectre to claim its due, its horror deepened by the 7 decades of unanswered questions that have left the town shrouded in whispers and dread. This aligns with historical horror storytelling, where the weight of time amplifies the terror, turning the Rowan estate into a haunted relic that pulses with the unresolved. The undertone also manifests in the emotional landscape, where Clara's soft-spoken grief and Elias's stern silence hint at a family fractured by guilt, their golden-curled daughters becoming sacrificial lambs in a drama older than the house itself. The woods, with their stone circles or hidden markers, become a Gothic cathedral of the unknown, where the air shimmers with the possibility of otherworldly entities or ritualistic shadows, their presence a constant undercurrent. This dark, Gothic weave ensures the listener feels the chill of Blackfield's history, where every creak, every whisper, carries the echo of a tragedy that refuses to rest, drawing them into a narrative that blends the macabre with the majestic, urging them to peer into the abyss where the truth of the twins' fate remains cloaked, a Gothic enigma etched into the fabric of time. As the shadows of this unsolved mystery fade into the past, the secrets of history await you. Subscribe now to Secrets of History, and join us as we unearth more chilling tales from the abyss of time. Hit that bell icon, and let the past whisper its truths to you next time.